Hey guys, in today's video we're going to do something that I've been wanting to do on this channel for a very long time. And that is compare a real mic'd speaker versus an impulse response. And be warned, the outcome of this video might change the course of human history going forward. Well, maybe not, but it sure as hell is going to be interesting and a lot of fun. I've done one or two videos in the past about this, but this is actually the first time that I'm going to conduct this test myself with my own gear and my own methods. And will this video finally end the never-ending discussion on the internet whether or not impulse responses can accurately replicate the sound of a real physical mic'd speaker cabinet? I guess we'll find out. Now, why make this video? Well, I've been a user of IRs for many years from various brands, Ownhammer, ML Soundlab, York Audio, and now my own IRs, and I love them, you know. They are very handy, especially when you have like kids who are sleeping at night and you want to make some music with a load box, or you know, with your modeler you can take the sounds of your cabinet or speakers from other people and cabs and all that stuff into the virtual realm and use them in your DAW or in your modeler. And with the click of a mouse, go from one speaker to the other and one mic to the other and all that stuff. So it's just super flexible and it's an endless world of tone at your fingertips, basically. And it's also quite affordable if you compare it to buying a bunch of speaker cabs yourself, a bunch of speakers, mics, preamps, and all that stuff. So it has many advantages, okay? Now, because I've been such a heavy IR user on my channel, I have gotten comments about this subject on the channel over the years. And some people are skeptical, you know. You can't beat the sound of air moving. You know, you can't beat the sound of real speakers being mic'd up by real microphones and all that stuff. While on the other hand, a lot of people have really embraced this technology. And I think there's room in this world for both, okay? Real cabinets are great. You know, they always will be the OGs where the IRs come from in the first place, right? And using an IR will always be different than playing through a real cabinet in the room. So I think it's okay to admit that both are fine, whether there's a difference in the sound or not, which we'll get to. But there doesn't really need to be a war. Just embrace both and use both for what they are good at and, you know, for whichever situation they work well in. And just use what you prefer. It's all good. Now, since a while I've been using real cabs and real speakers on the channel. I started using this Engel 4x12 XXL cabinet, which is excellent, but it was quite loud. And recently I got my Grossmann Fatbox 1x12 ISO cab, which I've been loving so much. It sounds so damn good. If you haven't seen my review of that cabinet, I really recommend checking it out, by the way. But yeah, that has changed a lot for me. From using IRs exclusively for so many years, I've now gone over to the real speaker world, and I've really been enjoying that. It's just a different approach, you know, and it's cool to swap out physical speakers, move the mics around, and tweak the levels in the DAW between the mics and blend the mics and all that good stuff. It's just a lot of fun. And of course, I've also been making my own IRs now. I've amassed quite a large collection of speakers. I have like 25 speakers or so right now, which is growing, and I'm placing them all in my web store. So if you want to check out my IR packs, check them out in the link in the description below. But yeah, I just wanted to see how accurate my methods really are and if my IRs are really accurate or not, basically. So it's also a test for myself. Now, do I think that there's a difference between using IRs and real speakers? Well, of course there's a difference. And again, it's okay to admit that. First of all, the methodology and the workflow and everything is quite different when you're working with physical speakers, physical microphones, and all that stuff, okay? So that in itself already is great for me. I'm really enjoying that as opposed to just loading an IR and boom, there's your tone, you know? It's something that I haven't really dived into in the past, and I felt like I needed to do that. I felt like I needed to go down this road. And I have been getting great results and great tones, and they sound amazing, okay? I do think, and perhaps I'm wrong, that's entirely possible, that there is a little bit of a sonic difference between using the real mic speaker versus using an IR, but we will see, right? I feel like there's a little bit of a difference in the dynamics between an IR and a real speaker. But that difference could be called quite subtle, and I guess we'll find out in a minute. Okay, let's go over all the gear and the signal chain real quick. I'm using my Valiant Jupiter guitar, really good guitar with the polymath pickups. I'm using it through my Lichtlaerm Audio Prometheus amplifier what a beast. For the heavy stuff, of course, I'm using channel 2, so the lead channel. And then for the clean stuff, the clean channel, of course. Just double tracked, one left and one right, okay? So, for the real speaker, of course, the amp is being fed into my Grossmann Fatbox 1x12, in which I've loaded up my Lichtlaerm Audio Fane LCFR 150 speaker, which is the signature Lichtlaerm Audio speaker, which works really well with this amplifier. I mic'd it up with 3 mics, so 2 SM57s and 1 MD421 Kompakt. That signal is going into the DAW, and I've blended the mics so that it sounds good, to my ears anyway. And in terms of processing, I'm applying a low cut at around 82 Hertz or so, just to clear out that super low end rumble, which you'll never ever need in a mix. Now at the same time, when I'm reamping the signal, because these tracks were pre-recorded, I'm also taking the line out from the Prometheus, which taps a signal straight from the output of the amplifier, so it has all the power amp goodness as well. It's basically the same signal that is being fed into the cabinet. And that signal is also going into the DAW, and that's the signal that I'm going to process with the IRs for the comparison. So that there won't be any difference between the take of the real speakers and the line out with the IRs. Now I used this exact same setup to shoot my IRs. So I'm basically using the effects return of this amplifier to send in a sine sweep. And then I'm taking the signal from the line out of the amplifier as the reference file using Voxengo deconvolver, okay, to make the IR. And then for the comparison for the line out or IR tracks, I'm using Libra to load the IR, which I shot of that exact setup with the exact same mic balance. So all those variables are basically taken out of the equation so that we can only hear the difference between the real mic speaker and the IR. So that's the only difference that you guys are going to hear. The take and the sound of the amplifier will remain exactly the same. And I also level matched the IR segments with the real speaker so that all the levels are the same as well. I recently did a similar test where I compared a full tube amplifier rig, so my Orange Rockerverb 50 Mark III through a real speaker versus Line 6 Helix Native with the model of that amplifier and an IR shot of that setup. And that was also very interesting. So if you want to see that video, check it out up here or down here, by the way. Okay, so this is important. First, we are going to listen to a blind test comparison so that you guys can hear and see if you guys can hear a difference or not. We're going to get an A and a B. One is the IR and the other will be the real mic'd speaker. And then, you can close your eyes and let me know if you hear a difference and which one you think is the real mic'd speaker and which one you think is the IR. And yeah, we're just gonna have some fun and let's do this, okay? Don't skip to later in the video. Check this out first and let's see if we can hear a difference, okay? And this is the most important part, in my opinion. Okay, check it out. Okay, interesting. Could you guys hear a difference? I'm not really sure, to be honest. If there is a difference, it's definitely subtle. I think I can hear a bit of a difference, but it's very subtle. I think that by listening to the isolated guitar tracks, we're going to have a better understanding of those differences, or a better picture of the differences, I should say. But who knows? Maybe not. So now I'm going to give you the reveal, and we're going to take a listen to the isolated guitars. And yeah, after you've listened to that, also let me know what your thoughts are, okay? Because I'd love to know. So here we go. Here is the reveal. Which one is the IR and which one is the real mic speaker? Take a listen. Interesting, right? So A was the real mic'd speaker and B was the impulse response. Really impressive. They sound super close. So in any case, I think it's safe to say that, again, IRs are wonderful and they do a great job at replicating the sound of real speakers. Was the sound 100% the same? I think I could hear some differences. I think, but again, it's very subtle. Especially like on the palm muted notes, I feel like the dynamics of the low end was a little bit more fluid in the real speaker sound. Whereas with the IR, I felt like the dynamics in the low end were a little bit more stiff and a little bit more linear, if you know what I mean. So a bit less of that sort of smoothing dynamics going on in the low end. But it's really hard to say if that was truly the case. I could analyze it and, you know, put two tracks together and phase flip them and see what happens, but I don't really want to do that because does that really matter? I think it's all about what we can perceive as listeners, right? So yeah, I think there's a little bit of a difference sonically. You know, put aside everything about the workflow and all that stuff, but just in terms of the pure sonics, I think there is a little bit of a difference and it's very subtle, you know. So IRs are awesome. They are quite accurate. So that is cool and that's good to know, you know. It's good to know that if I make IRs myself, that they sound accurate. So I really enjoyed this. I thought it was enlightening for sure. And I'm glad that I got this out of the way. Now, it's very important to me to know your thoughts on this subject. So let me know in the comments down below what your observations are regarding this test. Do you hear the same differences as I'm hearing? Or are you like, dude, there's no difference at all? Let me know. Now, if you want to check out some IRs that I've made, I've shot IRs for about 20 speakers so far. You can check them out in my web store. And if you want to support the channel in another way, you can buy something in my affiliate links for Thomann and Sweetwater. Please also hit the like and subscribe buttons down below as that really helps the channel out. I'd really appreciate it. And of course, you can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.